My refrigerator and microwave keep turning off/powering off randomly. We have checked the fuse box and nothing has tripped. However, the GFCI was tripped, location at the counter wall, and we reset it, everything powers back on fine. However, a few hours later and we have to repeat the process. We have also checked the GFCI and it seems fine. We moved the refrigerator and it in the outlet seems fine. We removed the microwave, built in above the stove, and checked that outlet and it seems fine.
Hello. Welcome to Just Answer. How did you check the GFI that is tripping? You indicated it checked out okay.
We replaced the GFI and still had the same results. It made no difference to put the new one on as the microwave and refrigerator still powered off. We put the original GFI back on again with the same results. It normally takes a couple of hours for the GFI to trip if that makes a difference.
Thank you for the additional information. Very detailed, which aids us tremendously in giving better answers here. How many total outlets are on the same circuit as the GFI outlet that's tripping?
8 plus 5 appliances.
Wow, that's a lot. Is this an older home?
1979. Yes, it does seem to be a lot.
Okay. Well, GFI outlets can trip for a few reasons. One thing to check for is any downstream outlets, being fed through the GFI, they lose power when the GFI trips, having a bare ground wire possibly touching a screw on the side of an outlet. If so, it would be touching the silver screw, not the gold screw. If it touched the gold screw, that would be a direct short and it would trip the breaker. Worst case scenario, you have 13 boxes to open, and check all splices in. Loose splices can also cause a GFI outlet to trip. I was initially suspicious of the GFI outlet itself, but since you tried a new one and got the same result, I don't think the outlet is the problem.
Okay, do you have time for us to check?
Another thought. Try plugging the fridge into another outlet for a while, even if you have to use a short extension cord. The heavier the gauge, the better.
We have already checked a few of them tonight.
Probably not 13 boxes, but we can pick this back up tomorrow, if that works for you. If feeding the fridge from a different location doesn't stop the tripping, try feeding the microwave from a different location for a while. You can keep repeating this process until all appliances have been temporarily removed from the outlet for a while. That way, we eliminate the appliances being the cause, due to some type of internal fault. By the way, we don't typically recommend refrigerators to be on GFI protected outlets. Due to nuisance tripping, they can lose power and spoil your food.
We have already removed the microwave and rerouted the refrigerator.
Okay.
No, it is not on the GFI, refrigerator or microwave. We have about 5 outlets to check if you have the time.
Another possible cause. A staple driven too tight over a wire somewhere in the wall. The wire may be heating up due to load, and expanding enough for the ground and neutral to short to each other through the metal staple. We've seen that before. After losing power, it then cools down and contracts. Sure, go ahead. I'll stand by.
Downstream we have 1 outlet, the fridge, and the microwave. Immediately upstream is another feed that is not tripping. Everything else is either upstream from that or parallel to it. We've checked the outlet for the two appliances. We'll check the last one now.
Okay. Please let me know what you find.
All check out fine.
It may be a problem with a wire inside the wall. How difficult would it be to replace wire that is connected to the load terminals on the GFI, from there to the next box, and continuing to do so, one section at a time? That is, until the problem is eliminated. In other words, replace a section, and then wait to see if the issue is resolved before replacing another section.
Due to the downstream crosses 2 rooms and 4 walls which are all disconnected. Is there a way to test for a damaged wire using a multimeter?
Okay. Well, a circuit tracer could come in handy here, as a good one would potentially lead you to a problem area on a run of wire between boxes. However, they are very expensive. It would be better to bring in a contractor who has one, rather than buying your own. Ideally, an experienced electrician would be able to find the problem in a few hours, max. With a good circuit tracer, that is.
If this is something that would pay to have in the long run, might be worth it.
Perhaps, but they are $1,000 or more. I have a fairly basic one, not really high-end, that retails for about $1,200. There are models out there that cost twice that much.
I'm going to watch the appliances on each circuit overnight. My gut tells me one of those is the issue.
I think so too. Faults within the wire itself are rare. Not unheard of, but definitely not common. I've only seen a few wire failures between boxes inside of homes, and I've been doing this full time for about 20 years.
Oddly, while tracing the wires in the basement, I stumbled across a second circuit breaker we were never told about. While trying to find the issue before, it looked like those 3 rooms were on a double 100 amp breaker. Now it looks like those 2 breakers are going to this other box. I'll retest with this new info as well to truly isolate the circuit. At least it explains all of the parallel lines and odd behaviors there a little better. Plus it means the fridge, TV, and microwave are likely on their own circuits. If not, I'll make sure they are before going to bed.
That's a great plan. Is there anything else I can do for you at this time?
Not at this time. Can we get a hold of you in the morning if we are still stuck?
Absolutely. I usually sign on around 7 a.m. Eastern Time, or thereabouts. However, I will need to sign off around 8:30 a.m. to attend church.
Will you be back on in the afternoon at all? Hopefully, that does not sound rude.
Yes. I usually sign on right after church, about noon, my time. Not rude at all. This site is customer-oriented, and I try to be as well. My goal is your success.
This is the first time we have used this site. Do I end now and pay, or do I leave the chat open?
You can do either one. However, if you do rate now, although it doesn't end our communication, it will change the format of the question from a live chat to a QA format, which is more like a message board. It's slower than chat.
Okay, so I will hold until the morning. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, and we will be touching base tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. Have a great night.
The fridge tripped a separate GFI on a different circuit. Looks like we found the culprit. I've been reading the debates between fee or no fee on a fridge. Sounds like I should be fine rewiring the first GFI to be a single load GFI and not a pass-through GFI. What are your thoughts on this approach? Is any significant testing on the fridge required before making this change?
I wouldn't plan on going very in-depth with testing the fridge. I never put them on GFI circuits. One thing to consider. If it was fine on a GFI outlet for years, and it's suddenly tripping one, there may be something wrong with it. But I wouldn't be afraid to try using it on a standard outlet for a while, but making sure you're home to keep an eye on it, at least initially. If all goes as it should, any problem with the fridge should trip the circuit breaker, if it needs to.
Still looking good on standard circuit. No trips or other issues with the fridge. I would like to get rid of the extension cord and set more of a long-term solution. Looking around on the web, it seems I should go from a load configuration on the GFCI to a feed-through setup. Can you see issues with that approach? On the back of the GFI, the white and black cables for line and load are both inserted into the holes for the cables as opposed to wrapping around the screws. There are 2 black holes and 2 white holes on both the line and the load. I'm thinking I can talk the black cable from the load and plug it into the second black hole on the line. Same for the white cable. Is that the same as a feed-through configuration? Or do I have to twist off/nut off the line and load cables before plugging them into the GFI?
Hello again. As long as you take them off of the load terminals, you will eliminate the GFI protection for anything on the wires you move to the line terminals. It doesn't matter if you utilize the second set of holes for the line terminals, or pigtail everything together, color for color. The only thing about using the holes on the back of outlets is the reservations most electricians have about using the compression-type push-in connections. If there are pressure plates with screws, I'm all for using the holes. That's what your GFI outlet is likely to have. But if it were a standard, residential-grade outlet, I would not use the spring-loaded push-ins. They're just too problematic, as they are not a very good connection, relative to integrity. Please keep in mind that moving the wires to the line side of the GFI could potentially remove GFI protection from something downstream that it's required for. I would definitely investigate that possibility before settling on that as a permanent solution.
Great advice. There are pressure plates with screws, so I'll head that route. Plus, I'm more concerned with an ill-fitted nut than a faulty pressure plate. I'll investigate other downstream connections. Any other precautions I should be taking?
None that come to mind immediately. If the downstream outlets are not above the counter, or within 6 feet of the sink, you shouldn't need GFI protection for them.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.